Brothers went on tour with Tanya Morgan back in April, and we did a record store performance, and it was so dope and so organic because it was intimate. You could look in the eye and connect with every person in the store, and it just and the experience that the person you talk to with about American hip hop is different than our experience because it was weird because especially the first time we went overseas, these people never heard our records before, except maybe a song or two on the internet, and they just loved it because it was good music.
Exactly.
Exactly. Whereas when you do shows in the States, especially if you're doing a show in your hometown, no matter who you are, what city you're from, it seems like you gotta really cut their heart, cut their chest open and pull their heart out to get love, I don't know how is it for you in Baltimore, Seneca? When you do a show locally, is it the same effect as it when you go out of town?
Nah, you know what? And I'm gonna have to be honest, man. No, it's not. It's for some reason, out of town always shows more love. I think it's that complex of people knowing you from the same area. They kind of want to hold back showing love. You got your group of people that are consistent with showing you love. But for the most part, the vibe I usually get is oh, man, he ain't nobody. Whatever, man. I could do better. That's the vibe I usually get. But out of town, 24/7 love, man.
And I think that's universal with just about everybody that MCs. And I even hear the Roots talk about it. They claim they get no love in Philly. But, if you go catch the Roots anywhere, they're one of the most beloved bands in hip-hop.
Let me say this. Woke up this morning, Roots Marathon on MTV2. Black Thought all morning. Yes, please. Yes, please, and thank you. So,
that's amazing.
If anybody's sleeping on them in Philly, and I do have listeners in Philly, I don't know what y'all doing. You better show my man Black Thought some love because that's something you need to be hearing. That's the thing. We've gotten so far away from the people who can actually say something, do something for us that we're not. It's just. It just doesn't get any whacker to me. If we teaching our kids, we teaching our sons pretty boy swag, but we're not teaching them, y'all. What are we talking about? There are lyrics that are worth listening to.
Yeah.
And we're not giving that to our kids anymore. Coming up, it was African medallion around your neck, walking around reciting Chuck D, militant, that's what's up, we know what's going on, we got to be better than this.
Yeah.
We're not teaching our kids anything listening to this whack-a-flock of nonsense, but, that's just me.
And I try to hope, and they always say that things come in cycles, and there's always a renaissance, and conscious rap will come back. But I've been waiting with my arms folded since 1996. It's a sad state in music when you get excited to hear a Master P record as opposed to whatever it is that's on the radio. Master P is Rakim compared to a lot of cats that's rocking right now.
Wow.
Master P. Do you know what? One of the things.
Some of these records are so bad, I would rather just put a Q-tip in my ear and fall on it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is such a quotable. I will say that for the rest of my life. Some of this is so bad that I would rather put a Q-tip on my ear and fall on it. Okay.
Scott, could you imagine, seriously, us being in a room with Headkrack, dude from last night.
No.
And a bunch of hip hop heads and all discussing. It would be chaos.
It would be.
Talking about hip hop.
Look, listen. If we had that kid from Hip Hop and Bullish on the show, and Headkrack, and you, and D1, and Fader.
Oh my gosh, it wouldn't even be a show.
No, we forget that there was supposed to be a show. It'd just be oh, my bad. Are we still this recording? Oh, my bad.
Old school hip hop forum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's one of the things that's so dope about this is some of the people listening. No, I'm going to say the majority of the people listening are listening because they're heads.
Yeah.
And because they've been, like you said, waiting like the rest of us with the arms folded up since 96. But it's gotten to a point where I kind of look at it sort of like the Tea Party movement. The people who make the most noise get the most attention. And until we start making some doggone noise, people just going to tell us what they tell Kweli. Tell your listeners and followers and fans they need to eat the granola out that backpack and shut up. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll eat my granola, you some of them. I'll eat my granola. It's all good. It's fine. backpack will be dirty and filthy, and I will love it, and that's okay with me. I don't have a problem with the club songs. I really don't. If I'm in the club, if I'm in the club,
because like on the flip side of that, if radio was playing like backpack rap all day, we would get sick of that as well.
Yes,
But it goes back to what you were saying earlier in the show. There needs to be room for everybody at the table. There's a time to party. There's a time to raise consciousness and awareness. There's time to to provoke thought, and there's a time to take your brain out of your head and sit it on the table and enjoy some nonsensical stuff as well.
Yeah, and that everybody wants to be not that intelligent sometime, but dang, I don't like feeling like I came away not as bright as I was when I heard the song start. That's not good.
Yeah, some of these dudes sound like escaped slaves.
I got in trouble because I was calling them runaway slaves last night, but you said escape, and I'm gonna use your word instead.
Runaway, like they cousins.
What? They all trying to get to the north. Oops, I said it. So that being said, the next thing I have an issue with are these cats that are educated and pretending not to be. That is just the wackest plies. I'm talking about you're a nurse, but you talk like that. Really? You want us to believe you speak that way?
And that's the funny part about it, because I do radio. I do terrestrial radio. I'm like a terrorist. I use my day job to fund my terrorism. And the crazy thing is I can hate somebody's record and then meet him and be like, Plies is playing the game.
Yeah.
He's playing the game because I know you may have heard about how he is, record versus real life, but it's really like that. He is really because I was expecting him to be all thugged out and ignorant, and I was like, yo, Plies, what up, man? Hey, man, how you doing, man? I just want to say thank you very much for playing my record.
See?
And, wow.
I told you. Seneca, I told you. There's no way he could have been a nurse. Who would let you come at them with a needle and IV sounding like that?
Oh, no. You got to have that profession. You know what? I respect any artist that can personify an intellectual type of mentality when they're not in, in not say costume, but when they're not in performance mode, because at the end of the day, you've got to be able to know how to hold a conversation. The way I look at hip-hop today, unfortunately, my perfect analogy would describe that is a boxer. You know how back in the day, how, a boxer would be in the ring doing his thing, duking dudes out, and then you get out of the ring and he sound like the dumbest person you've ever heard of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He don't know how to put syllables together. You can tell he's been banged up upside his head. It's cool when a person can actually, conduct an intellectual conversation with you outside of what you stereotypically see about them, So I respect Plies for that. If you can, keep a conversation. I can't stand somebody don't know how to talk.
Well, no. Okay, here's the thing I have with that. And the same thing I always had a problem with Master P, who has now asked for forgiveness for it. If that's not good enough for your child, why is that good enough for mine?
Yeah. I mean, but people be at different phases in their life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the aspect of it I can understand, because as quote unquote conscious as I try to be, there's songs I made 10 years ago that I wouldn't make now.
But that's what I'm saying. 10 years ago they were being educated, and now they're acting as though, like you said, they're escaped slaves. Now explain that. How you go from one at that extreme to the I'm gonna go from extremely educated to I can't string a coherent sentence together.
I guess cats trying to fit in. They tried it one way and it didn't success. It didn't financially work. For some people, this is all they know. Because in hip hop, you do actually have dudes that have criminal records that can't go get a job at Best Buy, can't get a corporate job. So they got to make adjustments in their art to try to make it work. Because there's two types of MCs. You got people that are purists and want to back to the essence, straight lyrics, man. I'm trying to, raise awareness and invoke thought. And then you got people that are in it, just for the money. It's a means to an end for them. And, and cats like that actually, not say it, but, you kind of know what it is with them. I slightly, I respect it if you know that's their end game. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. When Soulja Boy first came out, the first album, I was like, so, yo, man, what are you really trying to do? Are you trying to raise the bar? Or you just trying to have fun? He's like, hey man, I'm just trying to have fun. From that point, I kind of respect it because he's trying to make fun music. By no means in any size, shape, or form. At that time, did he feel like he was the greatest rapper ever? Nor was he aspiring to be. He was just trying to make fun and have some fun and put a little money in his pocket. And that you can't be mad at.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
When they make their intentions known.
Right. Well, okay.
You can't say you're the hottest rapper in the world and you're putting out some ignorant, ignorant
garbage.
music, and because you have a core audience of kids that look at you like you the Rakim, you know what I'm saying, of 2000s.
Oh my gosh, that was profound.
And then you're offending people that are actually real hip hop heads like ourselves, and then that's where you get the divide where we're looking at you sideways, because okay, it's one thing to put out a bunch of garbage music, okay, that's fine, as long as you stay in your lane and you know your place in the game, so that you're not getting it twisted for people like us. Then we don't have a problem with you. You coming out saying you doing this record, it was a silly record, you sold, did your thing, whatever, that's great. Just don't be coming out your mouth saying that you the hottest thing around and that you got lyrics for days and all that kind of stuff, and I ain't got a problem with you either.
Word.
Wow.
Hey,
I'm
at a birthday party and I'm getting dragged away, but the last point I wanted to say though is, just like anything, if you're like a boxer, you study the greats when you're boxing. If you're a football player, you study, great quarterbacks, and I don't watch a lot of football, so I don't know the names of those other positions. I watch boxing, MMA, but anything you try to do, you study the best that do it. And I think in rap it should be the same way. No matter how old you are, if you're getting into the game, you should know who KRS-One is. You should know who Ice Cube is.
Right.
You should know who LL Cool is. Study your craft and it'll make you better. Like anybody who gets into the field of acting, like whether you just started acting today or you've been in the game, you got in the game 10 years ago. You know who Humphrey Bogart is. You know who, Eddie Murphy is, insert another great name actor here. In hip hop, people have to respect it just like it's a craft and study who came before them just to kind of know where they're going with it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, and
no doubt.
I appreciate you taking the time. I know you are at a party and you are ready to get your party on.
And it's funny because like a lot of the people I just talked about are actually at this party.
Are you serious? And then wait a minute. On two levels, that's wrong. Number one, we're not there and we're not coming there, so that's hurtful.
It's a free party. There's lots of Cuervo here, and they dragging me off. I gotta go. But anyway, I would love to be a guest on your show again, and thank you so much for all the support you've been showing on the record.
Whenever you want, we're about to get into Bodega Brothers right now.
We got it. It's available on iTunes right now. It's 99 cents. If someone tries to steal your car and this song is playing, they'll let you make it. You need it.
Thank you so much.
Big shout out to everybody. Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much, Danger. Thank you so much, Seneca. God bless y'all.
All right,
and you too, fam. Thank you a lot, peace.
Let's get up. Peace.
Peace.